Hello and welcome to this little Overcast Walden and the Werewolf impression video. And here I will give you my impression of the game after completing the main campaign, which took me around 75 minutes, which is oddly specific. Overcast is a first-person shooter with some horror elements in it, and you play as a guy named Walden who live in a village where everyone is killed by some unknown being. And you are trying to get revenge, and you set out with your lantern and your rifle to kill whatever was behind this. And that is the basic part of the story. Okay, so is it any good? Well, not really. But with that said, it did have some elements in it that I could enjoy at least. So to start with, the environments are quite atmospheric, and they look interesting. That is not to say that they look visually extremely good or graphically impressive. I just found the environments to be atmospheric and kind of nice. Another good thing is that, considering the game's length, it is actually quite impressive how many different enemies they had, at least on the visual side. Another cool thing is that the shooting, even though they only have one weapon through the entire game and it looks shit and stuff like that, but the core of it, that you shoot one bullet and had to have some time to reload, is actually kind of nice, and it worked okay. And I guess that you can say that the best thing about the game is that nothing really overstays its welcome. It's an extremely short game, which I will talk about more later on, but all of the elements in the game, all of the maps and stuff like that are really short. And the good thing about that is that nothing overstays its welcome, and you never really get the chance to be extremely bored of something. Okie dokie, so what is bad about this game? Well, to start off with, if you go into the options, then you can choose whether or not the game will be full screen or windowed, and you can choose between 3 different preset levels of graphical options: low, high and ultra, and that is that. So you can't choose your own resolution, and you can't rebind keys and stuff like that, and that kind of sucks. Another thing that kind of sucks are the animations. They're actually pretty damn bad. They look amateurish. They do not look at that level that you would expect them to look at the game they charge money for. So that kind of sucks. Something else that kind of sucks are all of the filters they use to blur up the screen and to simulate sickness and all of that stuff. I can see what they are trying to do, but they just go way overboard with it, and it becomes painful and extremely annoying. Another thing that was really annoying is the horror element in this game and how they handled it. So I'm never really a big fan of jump scares, but they really push them to the extreme in this game. So the way they do jump scares is not that they have an enemy jump at you. I mean, no, not that at all. What they do is that they have actually a goddamn screamer jump up on your face. So it's not an enemy or anything like that. It's just a filter and a scream. I mean, come on. And that is basically the whole horror element in this game, and it sucks and it's extremely annoying. I mean, it's just bad. Now, the combat in the game is functional. It's definitely nothing to write home about, but it works at least. And it's very simplistic. So you have one rifle, which takes some time to reload, which, as I mentioned before, is an element that I like. I think that it's very atmospheric, that you shoot one bullet, then you have to dodge around and reload and stuff like that. I think that is cool. But even though there is a fair amount of enemies and they have unique animations to them to a certain degree, they still behave in the same way. And that is that they run against you. So you shoot them and they run against you, and you dodge them and reload the weapon and you shoot again. And it's extremely simplistic. And there is really not all that much to it. But it's functional at least, so let's give them that. Okie dokie. So how is the story? Well, the story is bad, it's forgettable, it's bland, it's boring. And what really bothers me is that they actually had a chance to make this story at least somewhat interesting. But they didn't. So no, you will not play this game because of the story. Another thing that bugged me a bit is that the narration is text only. I mean, come on. The main character does not speak. So the narration is the only thing in the game where you actually had to hire a voice actor, but you didn't. Now, if you add all of this together, then you do not really get an all that impressive game. And despite that, there really isn't a whole lot of content in it. So the content isn't especially good, but there really isn't a whole lot of content anyway. So, as I mentioned before, it took me around 75 minutes to complete this game. But that is that I had the game open for 75 minutes. It does not mean that I played for 75 minutes. I probably was AFK for a couple of minutes, and I did die a while, not die a while, die a couple of times, and I did take my time with the game. So I could imagine that if you simply run through the game or doesn't take a whole lot of time, then you could probably complete the game in a lot less than 1 hour, and that is extremely short. And considering that, it's really quite surprising that they have priced the game at 10 euros at the Steam store. If I had bought the game for that price, I would definitely feel ripped off. Now I got it at the bundle, and I probably did not pay the bundle price for this game, so yeah, I probably got my money's worth out of the game. But with that said, it's not all that impressive or anything like that, but I do not regret installing it, I do not regret playing through it, because it had some interesting aspects, and the environments were kind of nice and stuff like that. But yeah, I guess that was my thoughts on the game. If you have gotten this far, then thank you for watching, and bye bye bye.